Paramā Ekādaśī. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, what is the name and character of that Ekadashi that occurs during the dark fortnight of the extra leap year months? Also, O Master of all the universes, what is the process for observing it properly? Kindly narrate all of this to me. The Supreme Personality of God, Lord Sri Krishna, replied, O Yudhishthira, this meritorious day is called Paramā Ekādaśī. It bestows a great benediction of any enjoyable life and ultimate liberation, release from birth and death. The process for observing it is similar to that for observing the EKADASH that occurs during the light part of this month of Kārtika. That is to say, on this EKADASH one should worship me, the best of all living beings, with full love and devotion. In this connection, I will now tell you a wonderful history, just as I heard it from the great sage in the city of Kāmpilya. Once a very pious Brahmana named Sumedha resided in Kāmpilya with his wife Pavitra, who was extremely chaste and devoted to her husband. On account of having committed some sin in his previous life, Sumedha was without any money or food grains, and even though he begged many people for food, he could not obtain any substantial amount. He hardly had adequate food, clothing or shelter for himself, and his beautiful young wife, who was of such excellent character that she continued to serve Sumedha faithfully despite their poverty. When guests would come to their home, Pavitra Mataji would give them her own food, and also she often went hungry. Her beautiful lotus-like face never faded. This fasting made her weak, but her affection for Sumedha remained unbreakable. Seeing all this as lamenting his bad luck, Sumedha one day said to Pavitra, My dear wife, O most beautiful one, I beg alms from the rich, but receive scarcely a scrap. What am I to do? What possibly relief is there for our plight? Where should I go for relief, O most obedient and loving wife? Without enough wealth, household affairs are never successful. Therefore, please permit me to go abroad and attain some wealth. If I make such an effort, I shall certainly obtain whatever fortune I am destined to enjoy. Without making some endeavor, a person cannot satisfy his desires or meet his needs. Thus wise men have said that enthusiastic endeavor is always auspicious. Upon hearing this from her husband, as he spoke these words, Pavitra joined her palms and her eyes brimming with tears, spoke to him with great respect and affection. I think there is no one greater or more learned than you, my dear. One who, though in misery, is interested in the welfare of others, speaks just as you have. However, the scriptures state that whatever wealth a person attains in his life is due to his having given charity in previous lives, and that if one has not given charity in previous lives, then even thought he may sit atop of mound of gold as big as Mount of Sumuru, he will still remain poor. Whatever charity a person gives in the form of education, money, fertile land, and the like is returned to him in future lifetime. We gain what we have given when given with a good heart. Indeed, whatever the Lord of Destiny, the Creator, has written as one's fortune will certainly come to pass. No one attains any wealth without having given in charity in his previous life. O best of Brahmanas, since we are now poor in our previous lives, neither you nor I must have given any sufficient charity to worthy persons. Therefore, O gracious husband, you should remain here with me. Without you I cannot live even a moment. Bereft of her husband, a woman is not welcomed by her father, mother, brother, father-in-law, or any other family members. Everyone will say, you have lost your husband, you are bad luck fortune personified. If this way I shall be criticized severely, please therefore stay with me and be satisfied with whatever wealth we get. Whatever is destined we shall obtain in due course of time and enjoy here in perfect happiness. Hearing these plaintive words from his wife, Sumedha decided to remain in their native village. One day, great sage Kaundinya arrived at their place, and upon seeing him, the Brahmana Sumedha and his wife stood up before him and then offered him their respectful obeisances. With his head bowed, Sumedha welcomed him. "We are very fortunate to behold you here today. O wisest of sages, my life has become successful and I am much obliged to you." Sumedha offered Kaundinya Muni a comfortable seat and highly praised his austerities and learning. "Just by having your darshan today," said Sumedha, "I have become very fortunate." The poor Brahmana couple fed the sage as much as they could afford, to according to their means, and afterwards Pavitra asked the mendicant, "O most learned one, what process can we follow to be relieved of our poverty? How can a person who has not given anything in charity in his previous life get a good family, much wealth, and a fine education in this life? My husband wants to leave me here and go abroad to beg alms, but I earnestly prayed to him to stay here with me. I humbly told him that if one lacks wealth in the present life, it is because of not having given sufficient charity in previous lifetimes. And so he has consented to remain here. It is only due to my great fortunes that you have so mercifully come here today. Now we are certain to see the end of our poverty very soon. O best of Brahmanas, please tell us how we can be free of this perpetual misery brought on by poverty. O merciful one, kindly describe some means, a place of pilgrimage we may visit, a day of fasting we may observe, or an austerity we may perform, by which our ill fortune will end forever." Hearing this sincere supplication from the patient ladies, the great sage Kaundinya reflected silently for a moment and then said, "There is a fast day very dear to the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Hari. Fasting on this day nullifies all kinds of sins and removes all miseries caused by poverty. This fast day, which occurs during the dark part of the extra leap year months, is known as Paramā Ekādaśī. It is the topmost day of Lord Vishnu, hence the name Parama. This extra month's dark fortnight Ekadashi bestows all the necessities of life, such as money and food, grains, and at last gives liberation and release. When the evening of this day comes, one should begin singing the glories of the Lord and dancing in ecstasy, and one should continue through the entire night. This holy fast was once observed faithfully by Lord Kuvera. When Lord Shiva saw him strictly he had fasted, Shiva became very pleased and made Kubera the treasurer of heaven. Also King Harshchitandra fasted on this Ekadashi after his dear wife and son had been sold, and the king was able to get them back. Therefore he ruled his kingdom with no further impediments. Therefore, O broad-eyed lady, you also should observe the sacred fast on Paramā Ekādaśī, following all the appropriate rules and regulations and remaining awake all night." Lord Shri Krishna continued, "O Yudhishthira, son of Pandu, in this way, Kaundinya Muni mercifully and affectionately instructed Pavitra about the Paramā Ekādaśī fast. Then he said to Sumedha, on the Dvadashi, the day after Ekadashi, you should vow to observe Panchharatrika fasting according to all the rules and regulations. After taking bath early in the morning, you and your good wife, along with both your parents and heirs, should fast for 5 days according to your ability. Then you will all become liable to return home to the abode of Lord Vishnu. A person who simply makes use of only one seed during these 5 days goes to the heavenly planets. Whoever feeds qualified brahmanas nicely on these 5 days has in effect fed all the demigods, all human beings, and even all demons. Whoever donates a pot of drinking water to a twice-born Brahmana during this 5-day period will gain merit equal to that gained by donating the entire planet in charity. Anyone who gives a learned person a pot filled with sesame seeds resides in heaven for as many years as there are seeds in the pot. One who donates a pot filled with golden ghee will surely go to the abode of the sun god after fully enjoying the pleasures of this earthly planet. Whoever remains celibate during these 5 days will attain celestial happiness and joy with the maidens of Indraloka. Therefore, both of you, Sumedha and Pavitra, should fast during these 5 days of Pancharatrika in order to be rewarded with ample grains and wealth for the rest of your lives on this planet. The spiritual world will be your abode therefore. Hearing this sublime advice, the Brahmana couple Sumedha and Pavitra properly observed the Paramā Ekādaśī and the fast on Pancharatrika, and very soon thereafter they beheld a handsome prince approaching them from the royal palace. On the orders of Lord Brahma, the prince gave them a beautiful, exquisitely furnished house and invited them to live in it. Praising their austerity and patience, he also gave them an entire village for their livelihood. Then he returned to the palace. Thus Sumedha and his wife enjoyed all kinds of facilities in this world and at last went to the abode of Lord Vishnu. Anyone who observes the fast on Paramā Ekādaśī and also the fast on Pancharatrika is freed from all his sins, and after enjoying life he returns to Vishnu Loka, as did the Brahmana Sumedha and his faithful wife Pavitra. It is impossible, O Yudhishthira, to calculate the extent of the merit one obtains by fasting on Paramā Ekādaśī, for such an observance is equal to bathing in places of pilgrimage such as Pushkara Lake and the Ganges River, giving cows in charity, and performing all sorts of other religious activities. One who fasts on this day has also completed the offerings of oblations to his forefathers in Gaya. He has in effect fasted on all other auspicious days. As in the social order, the Brahmana are considered the best, as amongst four-legged creatures the cow is the best, and as amongst demigods Lord Indra is the best, so among all men's the extra months of leap year is the best. The Pancharatrika fast, the fast of 5 days, is the extra leap year months, is said to remove all kinds of abominable sins, but the Pancharatrika fast, together with the fasts of Parama and Paramā Ekādaśī, destroys all of person's sins. If a person is unable to fast on these days, he should observe the fast during the extra months according to his ability. A person who, having received a human birth, does not take a proper bath during these extra months, and then observe these Ekadashi, which are very dear to Lord Hari, commits suicide and suffers in the cycle of 8,400,000 species. The rare human birth is meant for accumulating merit and at last achieving liberation from this material world. Therefore, one should by all means observe fasting on this auspicious Paramā Ekādaśī. Lord Sri Krishna concluded, O sinless Yudhishthira, as you have requested, I have described to you the wonderful merit one can attain by fasting on the Ekadashi named Parama, which occurs during the dark part of the extra leap year months. You should observe this fast if at all possible. King Yudhishthira did exactly as Lord Krishna had instructed, and so did all his brothers and their wife Draupadi. After enjoying pleasures rarely achieved in the material world, they returned home back to God. Whoever, after taking a proper bath, observes a fast on these 2 extra month Ekadashis will go to heaven and finally attain to the abode of Sri Vishnu. And as he travels there, he will be praised and prayed to by all demigods. Thus ends Vrijavarsi narration of the glories of Paramā Ekādaśī, the Ekadashis that occur during the dark fortnight of the extra leap year months from the Skanda Purana.